Welcome to the Nevcast, where three bros talk business, art, justice, and the pursuit of Jesus.
Any day above ground is a good day.
Get ready to laugh, cry, and kiss 30 minutes goodbye with Peter Nevland,
Dave Nevland,
and
Rashid. All right. Dallas Shreve was on a roll.
All right.
He was on a roll talking about performance, talking about music, talking about education.
He's on a roll.
Talking about empowerment. So here we go. We're going to jump into part 2, pick up where we left off last week with Dallas Shreve.
Can you tell us, Dallas, we talk about, it's easy, I think, for somebody to listen and go, it's just orchestra, it's just music, What does orchestra, playing in the orchestra, playing music mean to kids? Like before the kids had music, can you give us even like maybe a story, a quick story that says, we know you've got a limited amount of time, but that says, the student was like this, they found orchestra, and suddenly, things changed in their life. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
And leave time for how
stories like that.
And leave time for how you're getting them instruments.
Oh, sure. We're on a time crunch right now. So where are we at with time?
Well, you have to go back to class in about 7 or 8 minutes. Oh yeah,
no,
right?
I'm actually good now because
cool.
Students did their final and they left. So.
Okay.
Okay. We thought we were done.
Yes.
Right. But we got about 5-10 minutes. We got about 10 minutes or so left.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, back to orchestra. Why? Well, I could start at the very basic benefit is if you look at SAT scores, and this is my claim to fame, or not my claim to fame, but this is our claim to fame as orchestra directors, and we like to rub it in the band and choir faces though. But if you look at SAT scores for those students involved in orchestra and band and choir, it's higher than everybody else.
Wow. And
orchestra happens to be the top performing of all students that take the SAT. And it's because of a number of things. I really believe with orchestra, you are incorporating so much of yourself into your instrument, like physiologically, orally, visually, there's everything. And you have to, I have my own, hypothesis of why. It's because you actually have to be totally engaged every time you pick up a fretless instrument, right. Because it's very unforgiving. So you learn that, and you meet the demands of that, and you're going to get smarter. And I've shown countless TED Talks to the students of why do you do this? Well, it makes you smarter. That's one reason. It will cause you to think more objectively, abstractly, deeper in ways. Your brain, all those synapses will connect in your brain in ways that otherwise would not if you didn't pick up an instrument. And it's not just for orchestra, but it's for any instrument, right. Singing, engaging that part of your brain. It just happens to me. I think that maybe orchestra students are a little bit more. It demands more of you. This is why I've and I'm in my first year, but we have 12 students here in orchestra, and then I have like 120 guitar students. So it just shows you that it's even though it's the first year, and it's a COVID year, people are ready to do guitar.
Yeah.
And I tell students, like, yes, it doesn't give back to you immediately, because a guitar, I can go on for days about how this instrument, you put into it, boom, immediate feedback.
Yeah.
But for the orchestra instrument, it's an investment, and I have to lay that out, pretty plainly in front of them, like at the very beginning. Hey, this is going to be a hard journey. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to throw this thing. You're going to put hours into it, but then there's going to come moments of breakthrough, and it makes everything worth it. So that's number one. It makes you smarter. And number two, just like I was talking about with my band, when you play with others, and you are part of a bigger team than you, it's it creates something that can't be reproduced, like if you're drawing art, or if you're playing video games by yourself, or when you create beautiful art together, it's transcendent, and students feel it, and they tell me they have goosebumps. I've had students tell me that, Buster, I just got goosebumps when what we just did, and I'm like, I know, it's like it's the transcendent, it's what we live for sometimes,
That's what we keep doing it.
I mean, it sounds like what you're saying is that you're training more of your senses to be able to learn. And when you train more of your senses to be able to learn, then you're going to be able to learn better. You're going to be able to apprehend, to acquire, and to retain more information, more skills. And why wouldn't that be beneficial? I mean, art. The thing about art is that there are equations that you cannot solve, in art, and they can only be learned by experience. And when that happens, the part of your brain that's the rational judgment cognitive center has to give up and has to let the other part of your brain that is the non-sequential, the trying to figure out patterns that are just incredibly too complex to be figured out. But you have that ability. It lets that part come to life, and that turns out to have huge benefits whenever you're learning other stuff as well. Because there are equations out there that can't be solved, but that your brain was actually made to solve without you understanding how. Yeah. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. That's cool.
Now, my son briefly started taking the trombone in middle school, and I found out, that the school doesn't supply the instrument, that I had to go and find the instrument and rent it usually for myself. Not every instrument is like that, but so at Northeast High School and at Dobie, some of the students weren't even able to rent their own instruments. Weren't able to do it because of that. And you're doing, anyways. I'm trying to get around to, you're doing something to help provide students that can't get their own instruments with instruments. What is all that about?
Yeah, sure. Well, the school provides, to an extent, a certain amount of instruments. And I've done different things, like written grants and done a lot of begging. And so I guess, long term, I don't want to keep begging, because there's just so much, it's just not sustainable. I've lived on support before. I've lived, through ministry support, and, it was a season, and I'm thankful for it. And some people live that way, but man, I can't do it. I do not like asking for stuff,
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that we did it for the season. We did it, but it was just a short, year-long season, year and a half. And same thing with this. I was begging for so long, and I just got tired of begging. So I was like, well, if I could figure out a way to make money, and take part of the proceeds and have fun doing it on my own time, then and buy instruments for students, then I would do that. So, I have a super love of coffee, and so I pitched an idea to my brother-in-law, who has a friend who likes investing, and he's a millionaire, and he likes investing into to good causes. So my brother-in-law pitched the idea to him, and he bought me a coffee roaster, and I've been roasting coffee for about 6 months or so, and raising money. One thing they do provide here at this school is they provide classical guitar instruments for the students, because it's set up like a traditional classical guitar orchestra. So at any given time, I'll have 30 students, with 30 guitars in the classroom, and it's beautiful. But that's only one side of the guitar, and it's a very small side of the guitar. If you think about what people actually do with the guitar out in the real world, it's mostly electric and acoustic. So they don't provide that at all, and so we were able to provide eight Squire guitar packs. Basically, it's a guitar and a little miniature amplifier. Most beginners start on those things. Mm-hmm. We provide that, and then we got a bunch of nice modeling amps. Basically, all the effects are built in, and so we got that. And with the proceeds from the coffee and donations combined, I was able to get a bunch of guitar pedals for some students that are really serious. And it's really, really cool. And this is what I've been waiting for so long, is that finding these students that are in like 9th, 10th grade, and it probably goes back to my own upbringing, wishing, that I would have had the opportunity and at least the exposure to what is the electric guitar, what is the guitar. And my parents got me one at like 9 years old or 10 years old, and it was an electric Yamaha, and I didn't know anything about it, and they just got it for me, and I'm like 9 and 10, and so it sat in my my closet for like, I don't know, 5-6 years. I never touched it. I don't even know where it is to this day. But what I love doing is just opening the eyes to these students. I'll just ask them, because they don't think they can do it. What do you listen to? And they'll tell me. Most of them are listening to rap, but a lot of the new rap has electric guitar in it. So like, okay, give me the track, and we'll listen to it. All right, okay, this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're just like, they get this look on their face like, whoa, I can actually do that. And I'm like, yeah, you can. And it's like, I love taking the mystery away of what this whole thing is. Like, what is that pedal? I don't even know what a guitar pedal is. Well, let's listen to this song. Do you know this song? Yes, I know this song. Well, how do you think he's making that sound? How do you think she's making that sound? Well, it's this and this. And so I love unpacking it. And so I've got and this is a COVID year, so it's obviously less than, what will be normal. I think I had about 5% of the students in class, and everybody else was on Zoom. And so, but I've got about 10 students right now that are so gung-ho about the electric guitar, and I've been able to give them pedals, and they're just like showing up, playing Metallica, playing all sorts of things. They're like, "Mister, did you hear this song before?" They're showing me, and I'm like, "Go for it, man, run!"
That's awesome. That's so cool.
And so I love demystifying it, because if no one ever sits and explains it to you, like, hey, it's not really that hard. It just takes hard work,
Yeah. So Dallas, where can people find your coffee to buy and support these students?
Yeah, what's it called?
What's it called?
It's stringtheorycoffee.com.
Stringtheorycoffee.com. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
It's a little play on words there. Part of the proceeds go to string instruments. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, man. Well, so we'll have to check that out. And I just love, you hear that saying that those who can play and those who can't teach. I would love to change that. It needs to be that those who have opportunity play, and those who become mature give back and teach.
That is actually that's wisdom right there, because Mozart died a pauper, because he refused to teach.
He refused to teach.
Wow.
That's true.
And so many. The thing is, like, I hear a lot of people, and I say a lot of people. I know quite a few people that are in the 20s and 30 somethings that, they're like, how do I get into music? How do I make it full time? And I only know a handful, maybe one or two, that are actually doing just music. It's a very rare thing. Now, to support a family in just doing music, that's even rarer. So either you're going to have to be a worship leader at a church, be on staff,
right?
Or you're gonna have to teach, because the band gigs don't pay. I mean, when I sub for a country western band, on the drums, I'll make $100 for like 2 hours, 3 hours, and I'm like, well, that's no way to support a family, right? And most gigs will pay $200 or $300, and you got to split it with however many people in the band, and so there's only a few avenues to be able to make money. And so, man, I am so blessed, because I have, like, I'm living a dream right now, to be honest. I get to invest into students all day.
That's awesome. I
get to be around these instruments all day. I pick them up on my break. I jump. I have a grand piano in my classroom. I have a vibraphone set in my classroom. It's like I'm living a dream, and I get to, like, show students all day, hey, check this out, and we go through, classical guitar reading, and they're playing, Bach, and and I get to be a part of this. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm living a dream right now, and then I get to have the most amazing friends ever to jam with, and then on top of that, the most amazing church community. Like, it's just so amazing that all these things laid out before me, and but it wasn't always like that. I
Sure.
was running construction in the projects underneath and crawling through roaches 10 years ago.
Right.
I was literally crawling through roaches in Cleveland, Ohio, underneath the projects, and carrying cable and burning my clothes because it had, I'd crawled through sludge and stuff, and I'd basically throw my clothes away after certain projects and stuff that I would do, and like, just really, really angry and frustrated. And then I started the declaration, God, I'm going to change the world with music. I'm going to change the world with music. I'm like, damn it, I'm going to change the world with music, God. I'm going to do it, and like, I don't care. I'm going to do it. And like, I started declaring that and pounding my fist in the ground. I'm going to do it. And God opened up all these doors for me. And it's so surreal.
That's awesome.
I love that. I love that God walked you through that incredibly difficult thing, so that when you encountered the difficulties of resurrecting orchestral music in middle schools and high schools, that wouldn't seem nearly so difficult, and it would be actually
really.
joy for you, and that now we have in our community, we have another Father who is pouring into the lives of students and is just replicating and building, God's kingdom of life and beauty, and seeing kids transformed. Like, man, we just need more people like Dallas, So thank you for investing and for giving and pouring out your heart and pouring out your life and telling us your story. We just love it. I mean, that's what I want to be about with the Nevcast, because, man, if you're not giving back to other people and multiplying yourself and what God's done in you to other people, you're missing out on so much joy and so much life. And thanks for saying that, Dallas. That's just awesome.
For sure. A lot of people don't understand like that. I tell this, my ultimate goal here is to have students teaching students so that I can focus on the upper echelon of more complex stuff.
Yeah.
And then they teach the younger ones that don't know what they're doing,
Right.
That's the goal. That's the way college works. You go into a music program, and I'm being taught, I was taught by the master's students,
Yeah.
And so that's the goal. But, one of the reasons they do that is because when you teach, you have to articulate what you know, and which means you have to rewire it in your brain to get it out.
That's right.
And so, like, I tell the students, and I'll set them up. I'm like, hey, it just happened all year, like brand new student out of nowhere. Like, oh, hi, I've never met you before, and there's a week of school left. I mean, like, or a month of school left, and so I put students with I pair them up, and I tell them, like, hey, if you teach what you know to them, teach them your basic this scale, teach them this fingering, teach them your posture. You are actually going to be a better performer and a better player because of it.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's like an upside down kind of ladder, like the more you reach down and help people, the better you get. I mean, I've even seen in my own breakthrough in the last year, like, just like, I'm going all after just, what I'm doing here. And like, it gives back. It's cyclical.
Yeah.
And the more you give into people, and the more, you give without anything in return, these kids, there's nothing I get in return really, because it's Zoom life, and I don't really see them much. And
yeah, right.
There'll eventually be a return. I know there will, but when you give without expecting a return, you end up benefiting just as much as them.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so good.
So it's a beautiful thing. So anyone wanting to get into full-time music, teaching is the way to go.
That's right. Come on, do it. That's right.
Awesome.
Well,
awesome. Cool. Thanks, Dallas.
There we are. It's what we do.
Well, thank you.
Every Wednesday.
Awesome.
Just about.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate what you guys do. And you guys are really lights. Every time I come in contact with either of you, it's just I always feel better. I always feel like, a light has shone on me,
And,
wow. You guys are so awesome.
What a privilege. We have been shown on a lot, so I'd love to spread that, and you just keep doing it. I mean, this is where, we're walking together in community, so yeah. All right. Well,
See
talk
ya.
to you soon, Dallas.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That's it for the Nevcast this time. Join us next week when we talk justice, business, and art in pursuit of Jesus. We will see you soon.